Hello, and welcome to our three-part series diving into Marketing Cloud and the use case of the AI-driven journeys in Marketing Cloud. This will be session one, where we're going to be covering the advanced segmentation and journey paths. This is part of a presentation that was given at Trailblazer DX this Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Hope you enjoy the presentation. Where we're going to be bringing in those cool new unstructured data elements in those new objects that were created, bring those in via Contact Builder. We're going to be using Automation Studio to create a query that's going to pull in those data points and influence our segmentation, primarily our lead ranking, and then show how that's going to be used in a journey for those decision splits. Before we dive into the code, let's talk a little bit about the data schema, how this is all coming together. So what we've got here on the left-hand side, we've got our Salesforce objects. So we're going to be using these leads that have been dropped into a campaign. We're going to be pulling in this lead ID from the campaign member. That's going to be connected to the lead itself, and the account's going to be connected to the account ID. And then we're going to be connecting the interaction summaries. That's where the unstructured data is connected. We're going to be using the lead ID and the campaign member to link it to the interaction summary here. And then from the interaction summary, the ID here is going to link us to all the entity objects. That's where all the unstructured data sits. We're going to be pulling that data into Marketing Cloud to provide the basic information that's needed to send that person through the journey. So we need like the subscriber key and the email address. We've got some other personalization points we're going to be bringing in as well. And then we're going to be influencing this lead ranking in the Marketing Cloud environment to create custom paths and journey builder. So let's just jump into the Salesforce CRM environment. And what I've got here are those interaction summaries that have been created, that Hunter created based on the unstructured data. So let's just click into one and take a look at what we've got here. So this interaction summary includes the transcript, that unstructured data from the conversation, and one of many conversations that this lead had with a salesperson. You can see their lead is attached here. That's how they're making that relationship between the interaction summary and the lead itself. This is the API response from the LLM engine as well. And then how this is broken out into each of the different entities. This is all the entities that are associated with this interaction summary. So we'll be taking a look at a little bit of those. So let's talk about how we're going to pull in this data into the Marketing Cloud environment. And that's sourced through the Contact Builder in Marketing Cloud. So in the blue cloud under Audience Builder and Contact Builder, this is where you're going to be pulling in those synchronized data extensions if you've got the Marketing Cloud connector. So up here in this data extensions folder, you can select the synchronized data extensions, and here's that entity, here's that interaction summary. So let's click into this interaction summary. We've got 111 different interaction summaries. And then you can see the data is pretty rich here. You can see the if we scroll up to the top here, we've got the ID for that record. We've got the actual transcript here. You can see this all in details. So every field that you're looking to sync over is available to you. Just need to make sure you have the right field level access to do so. And then once you've got the connector set up, you can select any object to sync over. So here's the interaction summary data. And then let's take a look at those entities as well. So you can see there's quite a few more into entities. There's 1,300 entities because each interaction summary has 10 or more entities. And then you can take a look at these actual entities. These are the ones that we're going to be using to fuel our unstructured data. Okay, now, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to bring in those leads that come in from the Salesforce CRM environment and pull them in and send them through the journey. So we want to pull in CRM data via these synchronized data extensions, and we also want to pull in the unstructured data as well. So if we go back into Salesforce CRM, just to give you a quick tour of these leads, what we've done is we've created a campaign where we've dropped in both of these two leads that we're using as an example today. So all you do is quickly create a campaign in Salesforce CRM. It's relatively straightforward to do so. And then you just add campaign members or leads to this campaign. So here's our example. We've got two different leads. We've added them to our campaign. They've got a status of add to campaign. Let's take a look at one of these leads. Let's take a look at some of those standard fields we're going to want to be pulling in as well. So here we've got Abigail Hopkins. Some of the basic information we're going to want to pull in. We're going to want to pull in their company name. We might pull in their birth date to understand their age. We've also are pulling in a predictive score. This is from a program called SalesWings that helps us rank our leads between a hot, cold, or warm rank. So we're going to want to pull that in as well. So that's some of the information that we're going to be pulling in there. So let's go into, I'm going to go back to this campaign so we can get this campaign ID. So what we want to do is we want to pull in any of those leads that are in this campaign. So to do so, I want to copy this campaign ID because we're going to want to bring that into Marketing Cloud as a filter. And what we're going to go to do in Marketing Cloud is we're going to go into Query Studio. Now, Query Studio is a fantastic tool that allows you to visualize the data as you're making those data relationships. It's a free tool, and the App Exchange definitely highly recommend getting it. So once you have that installed, it should be appearing under your App Exchange under Query Studio. So we're going to click in here, and we're going to create a query on the fly here. So the main three components of any query are the select statement, the from statement, and the where clause. Now, what we want to do is we want to bring in those leads that are coming from a particular campaign. In this case, it's going to be this 7013 ending in MAAY campaign ID. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to pull in these campaign members. They've been added to a specific campaign. So let's go into our synchronized data extensions. And we're going to want to go to the campaign member synchronized data extension. So it's going to be our first source in our from statement. So let's just copy that. We're going to go into our query, and there we go. So let's call that as C. That's our campaign members. Now we only want to bring in those campaign members that are from this particular campaign. So we're going to say this campaign ID equals, and we're going to call that C.campaign ID. Fantastic. Now we've got some data in here that we can use. So for the campaign member, we're going to want to use the subscriber key and the email address in order to send that journey. So if we go back into the synchronized data extension, we should be able to find this lead or contact ID. Now, since they're leads, we'll just go with lead for here. So that should be our subscriber key. Now, a subscriber key is that unique emailable field that identifies the record in Marketing Cloud. So we're going to do C.lead ID as a variable, and then we're going to call that as subscriber key. The next field we want to pull in is the email address. Let's see if there's an email address. Yes, there's an email address for this campaign member. And I think we can just go with email, check the syntax on that. Okay, and then we want to start pulling in some of those data points from the lead as well, like that predictive score, the company. We might want to pull in first name as well. Let's go see if first name is available in the name. I don't know if it's, I think it's a full name. Let's just check this in the, yeah, we want to pull in just the first name. So to pull in the lead object, we're going to select the lead synchronized data extension. And let's just copy that address. Now we're going to do a join statement. This is going to be a full join or an inner join. And let's call this as L. Now the way these two databases match is that we've got a lead ID from C, from the campaign member. And we're going to set that equal to the L.ID in the synchronized data extension, which is that lead ID. Okay, now that we have that populated, let's start adding some fields from the lead synchronized data extension. First thing I want to pull in is that predictive score. Here we go. That's that sales wings ranking. Okay, and then I want to pull in a name. Let's see, let's take a look at these leads. And let's see if they have a first name field in here. Yes, first name. So let's just go copy that. First name. And also pull in company. I think there's a field in here for company as well. Okay. Okay, that looks good. And then we want to pull in a particular status. Let's just check. We're going to run this and see what the status comes back for the campaign member status. Let's run this query, see if we get any errors. Oh, it's doing its thing. It's a great thing about Query Studio. Sometimes you'll get this message, you just hit run again. It's got a couple of quirks with it. But yeah, we should be able to see this. Okay, great. So here are those two leads that are in that campaign. We've got the subscriber key. That's that unique field that's going to be used in Marketing Cloud, the email address. I'm using my email address for this, just for testing purposes. We've got the predictive score, first name, company, and there's that status. So let's just modify this because we only want to pull them in if their status is add to campaign. So I just wanted to validate that. Then that's how they get added to the campaign with a certain status. We're going to want to change that status as they go through the journey. Okay, so now we've got the basics of how we're going to be pulling in these subscribers. The next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to take the this predictive score, excuse me, the unstructured data from the AI, the LLM solution, and we want to influence and create a much improved ranking score. So what we want to do is we want to identify within each of those interaction summaries a way to determine if they have a ranking of either cold, warm, or hot. And so to do that, we need to do another query that we can nest into this query that basically sets for each of those interaction summary records, sets a ranking for them. So let me just keep this query here, and we're going to duplicate this tab. We're going to create another query that will run, make sure it's working correctly, and then we'll nest it inside of this. So we're going to duplicate this tab, and we're going to set up another query, and this is going to take that unstructured data and pull it in to identify a ranking. So we're going to do a select from where. So our first data extension is going to be those entity data extensions. We want to pull in all of those different entities. So we're going to go to the entity synchronized data extension. Okay, and then that's going to be our from statement. We'll call that as E. And the next thing we want to join is the interaction summary data extension. So, because ultimately what we want to output from this query is the interaction summary record with a particular rank that we can identify in this other query. So let's join that synchronized data extension and just duplicate this tab so we have both of these open. I'm going to go into data extensions, synchronized data extensions. Let's go into the interaction summary. Okay, so let's copy this. Let's go into our query. We'll say that as I, and then we need to join these two. So I know that the E is an EID, which is the interaction summary ID. Now we need to find in the entity synchronized data extension the name of there should be an interaction summary ID. So let's just go in here and take a look at the records. There's the ID for the entity. And let me just check to see if there's a decent ID for the interaction summary. Yeah, that should be it. It's interaction summary field identifies the interaction summary. So let's just copy that and paste that into here. So it would be I dot equals. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so now that we've got those two joined, we basically now want to output the interaction summary ID. So that's going to be the I've got these mixed up. This should be E, and this should be I. That'll be a little bit better. All right, so we want to output the interaction summary ID so that that can determine the associated interaction summary with the that's got the lead. It's going to connect this to the lead in the original query, and then we want to output a particular rank that is based off of an actual entity detail. So to do that, we're going to want to do a case statement. So to do a case statement, let's go to Mateusz Dabrowski's website. He's got a great example for case statements. So let's see here. We're going to go to SQL Docs case statement. Okay, so here's an example of some syntax. Let's just copy this. Thank you, Matthews. So let's paste this into our query. I think we can just paste that. There we go. Okay, so now we can do, I'm going to do two examples of a field. Let me just double check. I think I'm missing something else here. This and then as. Let me paste that in here. Okay, so what this is going to be is the LLM rank field is what we want to output. And we want to output a hot, warm, cold, warm, or hot rank as a ranking. Now, what we're going to do is just to make this simple is we're going to set, if there isn't any field as an entity that identifies rank, we're just going to use warm as a default. But there should be some fields that have been set up to determine a ranking within in each interaction summary entity. And so let's just take a look at what was set up as that indicator. So if we go to, let's go to 0026, this entity, and let's go to this interaction summary, let's go to the different entities. So what we've set up as part of the prompt engineering is that we're asking the LLM engine to, based on the conversation that you're having with this lead, um, tell us if this person is willing to engage within, like, say, like the first 0 to 30 days, or are they more of someone who might be someone who's interested to start talking about 6+ months. And that is captured in the time frame category of of the entities. And you can see here this language will be either included with 0 to 30 days or 6+ months. So for this example, let's just copy out this 0 to 30 days. Again, the LLM engine is going to determine that, so we know that's going to be a fixed value in one of these entity details. So let's copy that. Let's bring that over to our query. So we're going to say in here, when that entity is equal to 0 to 30 days, or if there is 0 to 30 days somewhere within that string, then we're going to want to say that that's probably going to be a hot rank. And let's go take a look at another entity just to show, I think in this other entity, we've got another example of a 6+ month and how that comes out as well. So if we view all here, and in this, okay, so that's going to identify those. Now we just need to link up to those entities if we find an entity that has that type. So let's go in here, and then we need to find within the synchronized data extension that entity type. So just to give that example, let's copy this entity, excuse me, this interaction summary. Let's go back into this synchronized data extension. Let's go into the records and let's just paste this in. This should show us all of those fields. And so in this interaction summary, we should be able to see the ID, which should be in each one of those entities. And then to find the individual entity that is associated with the that time frame, we would need to click into the actual entity itself, but we'll try to find this in a different way. So if we go back to the entity synchronized data extension, what we're looking for is an entity detail where that's where that field, either the 6+ months or the 0 to 30 days. So let's copy this entity detail field. And we're going to go back into this query, and this is that field that is on the E dot, which would have that value in there. Okay, and then for the syntax of where this is included, let's go to hands-on SFMC. There's a query cheat sheet that I use often. Let's see. Yeah, let's click into this query cheat sheet, and this should show us a way to use a like statement where we're looking for if that 0 to 30 days is anywhere within that string. So we're going to want to use this like statement with a percent before and a percent after in our query. So we're going to use like, and we're going to use like here. So that should be looking for that. And then in our where clause, we also want to make sure that we're only looking for the goal type. But actually, even better, let's look for it within the category. We want it only within the time frame time frame. Okay, so that should have the I ID, and then there's the case statement that should output the rank. Okay, so we should be able to we should be able to see this ID come through, which would be this 02H3 number if we run this query. Let's just run this and see what we get. Just clean up the spacing a little bit. Oh, you know what? Yeah, the LL rank is coming up. So sometimes it can take a few minutes if it's running. And so then while we're waiting for this, oh, here we go. Okay, so we've got this, we've got the two different IDs. Let's just take a look at this ID. So it was JGEAU. Let's go see here, JGEAU. Okay, and they're outputting as a warm rank. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the percent. That will make a difference. Let's try changing that. It was basically looking for when there wasn't anything. I think it was if the value was just 6+ month or 0 to 30. Let's try running that again. And then hopefully we should see these records come through. So we should see, let's see, for LGEAU, this record was 6+ months. This one should be a cold rank if this is outputting correctly. And then once this is in place, we can take this query and nest in. Okay, so JGEAU, yes, it's a cold rank, so they have the 6+ month. So there we go. This now outputs where we have this LLM rank, which now that we can fold this back into our other query, we can identify for each one of those interaction summaries its ranking. So it's taking that ranking from the entity itself, all that unstructured data, and it's identifying a field on the interaction summary as its overall rank. So let's take that query now that we know that that's working, and we're going to bring this back into our other query. And let's join. Okay, and then the only other thing I think we also need to include on this is the lead ID itself. So in the interaction summary field, we need to identify the lead, which is this lead_C. That's going to be the way we're going to link this to, and I'm just going to run that while we're sorry, forgot a comma there. Let's run that. Okay, while we're waiting for that, we can bring this over into this query. All right, so when you're nesting a query, it can be a little bit wonky from a formatting standpoint. I'd like to do it this way, where we're creating that bracket. And let's indent in a little bit. And here we go. So, and you can also pull up this select statement. It sometimes helps clean that up a little bit there. All right, so it's basically we've got the ID, the lead ID, and this is where my query, my nested query ends. So we're going to call this as I2, since the interaction summary, basically what we're doing the linking. And then we want to link this to the lead itself with the LID, the lead ID, and that's going to be equal to the And here is the lead C. And that would be I2 lead C. Okay. And then now that we've got that linked, we should be able to output this LLM rank, which we're going to add to this query here. And that is going to be LLM rank. All right, let's run that, see if we got any issues. Sorry, that's I2, not I. So now we've got the two, we should be able to output the two ranks. We've got our predictive score, and then we've got our LLM rank that is coming from that unstructured data. And then what we want to do is we want to use another case statement to combine both of these to create an Uber rank. Okay, so here we go. We've got Victoria, Victoria, who has a predictive score of hot, but based on this unstructured data, we're seeing that she should more typically have a cold status, so we might downgrade her ranking. On the flip side, Abigail, who has a predictive score of cold, she's showing a hot rank. She wants to engage within 0 to 30 days, so we might elevate her rank to hot. So how do you combine both these two ranks together? Again, we're going to use Dabrowski's example. He's got another example here where you're using a case statement and it's got an and, kind of like this syntax. Let's go back into this query. Let's paste that in here. Okay. So let's get rid of this first line because it does not have an and. Okay, and just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to use these two examples, but you'd want to build out this case statement to be pretty resilient. Okay, so when the predictive score, the L predictive score, equals, let's say, hot, and the LLM rank equals cold, then we'll say warm. Will be nice, even though it may want to be cold there. Let's just copy this. And then when this is cold, and then the LL rank is hot, then we'll make this hot. And then we'll end as, let's call this lead rank simple. All right, let's see how that works. See if we're able to combine both of those ranks into one Uber rank that's going to help drive our journeys in Marketing Cloud. And then once this runs, we're going to show you this put into an automation, and we'll kick off the journey to send these two leads into the journey itself, and go from there. Okay, so here we go. Here's Victoria, who had that hot predictive score, but had a cold LLM rank. Now she's going to have a warm combined rank. The same thing here for Abigail. She had a cold hot. Now she's going to be a hot rank in the system. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an overview, a little detailed overview of how to use SQL queries to pull in that unstructured data and drive, influence something like advanced segmentation, and also something like our ranking system within Marketing Cloud. All right, so let's go back into Marketing Cloud and let's take a look at the journey and the automation. So once you've created those three different rankings, this is where we start getting into those advanced journey paths. So when you have that field created to drive your different segmentation, all you need to do is to use a decision split to create different paths. So this decision split has 3 different paths. We have a hot path, where they're going to be sent down, their campaign member status is going to get updated, the task is going to be created. We've got a warm path that might serve them up an email. If they do engage with that email, they may get fed up to the hot path. And then the last path is our cold path, which is going to just serve them up regular communications, typical lead nurture functionality. So let's just click into this decision split. We can just show how this is working. So you're going to go down the hot path if this lead ranking simple field equals hot rank. If that lead ranking simple equals warm rank, then you're going to go down the warm path. Otherwise, you're going to go down the other path, the cold path there. So that's how, once you've done all that work on the SQL side, you've done all of that to identify that consolidated ranking. It's relatively straightforward in the journey itself. All right, let's go to the automation, and let me just refresh this journey because sometimes it does time out. And what we're going to do is we're going to kick off this journey, sending in these 2 leads, what hopefully should go down a hot path and then a warm path, and see the basic functionality within Journey. We'll be covering other details as far as the content and the custom notifications in another segment. So here is our automation. We've basically got a query here. Let's click into this query. This should be very similar to the one we just created. Again, what it's doing, it is taking from the center part of this query is that nested query that you created that we're using those percent 0 to 30 to find within those entities and set them as either hot or cold. And then the outer part of this query is combining both of those rankings and setting the hot, warm ranking or even cold ranking here. So this is all set, and then this is going to fire once this runs, it is going to fire the journey entry activity, which is set to the journey date extension in this journey. So let's just do this real quick. This other query is populating data that we're going to be using. It's the next best product query. We're going to be using that in our next segment for how to use next best products to personalize the email content. So we're going to hit run once on here. We're just going to select all activities to run. It should send them through the journey. Again, if this was a live functionality, it would just be running automatically. So we're going to select all activities. We're going to hit run now. And then this should go through its steps. You can click here in Automation Studio and queue this up. You can see it's done the first step and the second step, and now the journey has been fired. Let's go back into the journey. We're going to refresh this. Sometimes it takes a minute or two to show in the canvas. And you can click this view event results. So we've got somebody coming in. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time. They're starting to come into the journey. We're going to go find the date extension where this journey exists. We can go check those records. So we're going to go into Contact Builder, and we're going to navigate. We have a folder where this date extension has been created. And it should be this lead nurture final date extension. Let's take a look at this data that this query populated. So here's Victoria, here's Abigail, here's their predictive score, and here's that lead ranking simple. So we've got Victoria, who should be going down the warm path, and we've got Abigail, who should be going down the hot path. Let's go back to the journey itself. Let's just refresh. Okay, so it looks like we've got the warm lead in here. Sometimes it does take a second for the Journey Builder canvas to display. One more refresh might do that. While we're waiting for that refresh, I want to go check my email inbox to see if I can get there. There's that warm lead. And, what I want to do is I want to click on this so they'll get brought up to the hot path. Just click on that email. That should take us to a landing page. Okay. And then let's go back to our journey. Let's just do a quick refresh on here. We should see one of those leads go down the hot path. Again, sometimes it just takes a second for the journey canvas to display. There we go. So they're in the create task activity stage. Let's go back into CRM and let's go back into that campaign. We should see for one of these campaign members, their status should be changed to hot lead from campaign. And the other one is email one sent. That's some journey functionality. This is that campaign member update. We'll be going through that in a little bit more detail in our third section. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully that's given you an example of how you can use unstructured data to create some advanced segmentation, influence something even as complicated as a ranking system. Give you an example of a query using the case statement to combine both of those ranks, and then showing how this could show within the journey to these custom paths once you've done your homework up front to create those different fields that are going to determine the ranking, how you can create different journey paths. And look forward to our next session. We're going to be diving into the content to populate the next best products, to use personality to drive the content in the email itself. Thank you very much.